Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and today we're going to check out a unit mod. It's a singular unit known as the Greatest Spawn of Tzeentch mod. What this is the Firewyrm of Tzeentch, if you remember the Age of Reckoning artwork, the MMO itself, or even just some White Dwarf stuff, as a lot of conversions did happen here. You would remember this absolutely massive beastie, which is by far one of the most impressive creatures I've seen on the workshop so far. I mean, it's absolutely huge. It's got really cool animations to it. I think this is using the Troglodon base. I might not be 100% correct, but I think so, given the tongue. But in general, it's just absolutely awesome. And it makes me wonder why Games Workshop didn't expand onto the Greater Chaos Spawn as originally intended. As you know, we do have a normal vanilla version with the Greater Chaos Spawn, but we never had the God-touched ones, and it's just a massive shame. Anyways, you can use this in battles and in campaign. As you can see, in battles, it's got fantastic stats. So it's got Barrier, because it's a Tzeentchian spawn, it causes terror. It's Unbreakable too, again, it's a spawn. Flaming attacks, it's got some range attacks. Just the range attacks itself are based on a 2-shot only. I'm not sure if this might change in the future, but the shots themselves are very powerful. We'll check them out in just a little bit. The fact it's also got regen makes it incredibly useful. This is a very different type of big monster that you wouldn't really use in the normal sense. Anyways, yeah, so Siege Attacker, Warbreaker, and everything. Like, I feel this is something that the Tzeentchian factions do need, because it's not just the Tzeentch demons, but also you can get this with Village too. It's also got access to an ability known as Warp Screen, which you only have 2, but they are very, very strong, so we'll show that later off in the video. This is a big beastie that you're going to use as a hard shock troop more than anything else, but it's more than capable of being in the front and just doing damage, obviously depending on what you're fighting against, as there's some things that can counter this. So for the Tzeentchian Monogod factions, it's available at tier 4 in the same buildings where you can get your Screamers and Flamers, so it's not going to take too long for you to get it, especially as Kairos does have a decent amount of growth that you can get. Obviously, Kairos' campaign is a bit tough now, so getting to it might take a while, but you never know in the future when he does eventually get moved. However, I've been using this in the campaign, and it does help. It does help, especially as you're being dogpiled upon. Then when it comes to the Warriors of Chaos factions that have access to the Tzeentchian warbands, you can upgrade a Chaos spawn all the way up to a Greater Spawn of Tzeentch. It's going to require rank 6, and at the very beginning it's going to cost 705 just to upgrade, which is quite costly. But mind you, spawn to upgrade does not take a long time, especially as you can spawnify at the very beginning of your campaign and get access to 3 more Chaos spawns, leading you to 4 in total. So getting there is not going to take any time whatsoever, depending on how you play, of course. So like I said, you've got 2 range attacks, the first one being your standard one, which you can see is like a different version of the Blue Fire of Tzeentch. The thing is that it's great against hordes, so you want to just get all your enemies locked up before you actually do use it, or else it's not going to do that much damage whatsoever. Then the second is the ability, which you need to position your monster. It's not like you can do it and then it's just gonna do a lot of damage. As you can see here, you can easily miss and not really do that much against the enemy. However, itself is very, very powerful. And seeing as it takes around 2 seconds to actually charge, your enemies can move out of the way because you know the AI is quite fast. However, if you actually do it on the enemy, on a decent amount of enemies, even then this is not that much, you can see the damage is absolutely insane. Like, you can do a lot of damage with these big beasties. Again, it's going to require you to hold the enemy down, but in something like a choke point, yeah, this is going to be absolutely phenomenal. Keep in mind, friendly fire is a thing though, so you can do a lot of damage to yourself. And it's important to note that if using this creature, when it's locked in melee combat, it's not the best time to actually use this ability unless you've got a good vantage point, because they can move a little bit. They can move even when casting. I'm not too sure how this actually works, but they can kind of move a little bit to the side. But a good cast here, once again, just to showcase it, like, it can do a lot of damage. Even then, this is not the best cast. It's actually just like a bit to the side, but the damage output was just absolutely horrendous. There's clearly a reason as to why you only have 2 charges, and yeah, it's pretty beastie. The only thing is, I don't think a Doom stack would be viable, as anything that has anti-large will basically start ripping it to shreds, and I think that's a good thing. It shows that it's not like a all-powerful type of creature. You actually have to keep it protected. Here I've got the Blood Knights, which are stuck in melee, by the way. They're not actually cycle charging or anything, but they're doing a lot of damage to it, almost pretty much killing it. The great thing, obviously, is having a little bit of regen and then barrier and just keeping it away is probably going to be the best thing. Right, so here I'm going to do a little bit of a scenario just to show you how the unit actually works. So it's a randomly generated vampire count army with a pre-made army for Tzeentch, mostly because random generation sometimes ignores modded units. I had a few hours to play with the mod on just to check out how it was going to work in campaign. Overall, it's a great heavy shock. Like, it's a shock troop, but just even scarier because of the damage output that it can get from a little bit of range. It's also decently fast in general, so it can move around and do quite a decent amount of damage. I love the unit. It brings me such big Warhammer Age of Reckoning vibes. I can't wait to see the other Chaos spawn, because the modder did say that there is intention to create the others. And I think that there would be an absolutely massive mod if that's the case, because stuff like this is just really, really cool. When you see old, kind of forgotten stuff in Warhammer lore and history being brought back, even if it's in the form of mods, it's extremely impressive. So, fighting the undead, you just want to use the creature to kind of move around, get some attacks in, because it will suffer. It does take a lot of heavy damage here, even if there's not a lot of anti-large. But like I said, as a heavy shock troop, it just does wonders. There is something that you will need to know if you're playing as Village or any Warriors of Chaos that may have access to it. If you decide to upgrade it, so from the normal Chaos spawn up to the new Chaos spawn, there's a bit of a problem where it will go down to 12 HP, so what you need to do is wait a few turns for it to just get its HP back before you can get into another fight. So if you're going to upgrade Chaos Spawn, do it in a place that's safe and then you're not going to get attacked and then it just gets killed very quickly. It only takes about 3-4 turns. Yeah, it's just safer. You're fine with just 1 or 2 turns, to be honest. It's just something that you need to know in case you want to play as a new Village campaign. But yeah, damage-wise, it's great. It's there to do, like, it's there for terror. It's there just to go around. It's not too great as far as I've seen for taking out single entities, at least as far as I've been testing, versus the Mortis engine. It wasn't doing too much damage, but then again, the Mortis engine itself is quite durable. But all in all, I absolutely love it. I don't know if it's worth taking more than, say, 2 in your army. Like, they are very, very good, but they're very, very expensive. Again, 500 upkeep is quite expensive. You can get some modifiers to reduce it, obviously, especially with, say, for example, any skill points that you reduce upkeep with, so it's probably better to use these with the Demons of Chaos. But with Village, you're perfectly fine too, as far as I've seen, because it should also have upkeep reductions when it comes to the whole thing with getting more Tzeentch authority. As far as I'm aware, that's what was working. So yeah, you can see here that really nothing is going to cause problems. Keep in mind that these are just vampire counts, and this is just a tester faction that I like to showcase stuff of. But yeah, it's extremely potent. It can dish out so much. I mean, at this point, I think it got to around 200 kills or so. It's just really, really cool. The fact is, visually, it just looks absolutely amazing, which I think is the biggest plus here, because a big creature like this is something that I eventually want in vanilla. I'll be very honest with you, because, cool factor. Cool factor is a massive, massive thing here. The modder's name is Draco McGee, and you're also going to be able to find this mod in the description below. If you're looking to play as Tzeentch, if you need a little bit of extra help as Kairos, which a lot of people I think do at the moment, the start positions are bit horrible, which you should be playing Kairos now anyway, because there's a few things which are kind of bugged and work to his favor. But this is the excellent support. This is the support that you definitely need. The more I look at the unit in action, the more I get nostalgic about the art and just what could have been if we would have eventually had these as official miniatures. Because the art does exist for all 4 Chaos Spawn, all the unique ones. And it's just a shame we never had these officially, like proper miniatures to build in paint. It would have been really, really cool. Anyways, I'm getting oddly nostalgic for Age of Reckoning, so I might have to go and download the private server just to have a little bit of a go. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this mod in the comments below. Let's have a bit of a discussion. More than likely, the modder will be checking out the video comments to see feedback and so on. Obviously, with the best way to implement feedback, do leave a comment on the modders page, as that's the best way to contact modders directly usually, well, other than, if you know their discords and so on. But this has an incredible amount of promise, and I can't wait to see how this progresses in the future.